Hi, um, I'm outside, so if you hear no other noises like birds, it just adds to it. So here's the second recording for week 6. I'm going to read you the beginning of the story and the end of the story, very similar to what I had done last week. So this is called Sweetheart of the Sok Trombong, and it's kind of like a what if, like maybe there were stories that circulated among the unit about what would happen if we snuck a girl into Vietnam. What would happen to her? And this is Rat Kiley who is telling the story. And remember, Rat is the medic. And so if you've ever seen any kind of old TV shows like MASH, where it's kind of a unit that's kind of separated out, obviously from like a front line or what they call the hump or the march. It's kind of a protected area. People are kind of flown in if they're wounded, and it's a MASH unit. Kind of, they can do maybe like basic surgery, get shrapnel out of you, that type of thing, and then send you back out. So that's kind of the environment that this story is kind of creating. And it starts off this way. Vietnam was full of strange stories, some improbable, some well beyond that. But the stories that will last forever are those that swirl back and forth across the border between trivial and bedlam, the mad and the mundane. This one keeps returning to me. I heard it from Rat Kiley, who swore up and down to its truth. Although in the end I'll admit, and it doesn't amount to much of a warranty, among the men in Alpha Company, Rat had a reputation for exaggeration and overstatement. A compulsion to rev up the facts, and for most of it was normal procedure to discount 60 or 70% of anything he had to say. If Rat told you, for example, that he had slept with 4 girls one night, you could figure it was about a girl and a half. It wasn't a question of deceit, just the opposite. He wanted to heat up the truth and make it burn so hot that you could feel exactly what he felt. For Rat Kiley, I think facts were formed by sensation, not the other way around. And when you listen to one of his stories, you would find yourself performing rapid calculations in your head, subtracting superlatives, figuring the square root of an absolute, and then multiplying by maybe. Still, with this particular story, Rat never backed down. He claimed to have witnessed the incident with his own eyes, and I remember how upset he became one morning when Mitchell Sanders challenged him on his basic premise. It can't happen, Sanders said. Nobody ships this honey over to Nam. It don't ring true. I mean, you just can't import your own personal putang, derogatory word for girl. Rat shook his head. I saw it, man. I was right there. This guy did it. His girlfriend. Straight on. It's a fact. Rat's voice squeaked a little. He paused and looked at his hands. Listen, the guy sends her the money, flies her over. This cute blonde, just a kid, just barely out of high school. She shows up with a suitcase and one of these plastic cosmetic bags, comes right out to the boonies. I swear to God, man, she's gone on culottes. White culottes in the sexy pink sweater. There she is. Culottes, you guys, is a style in the late 60s. Maybe it came to like your calf. Kind of not really, not shorts by any means. It just kind of I don't even know what we would call it today. You'll have to look it up. I remember Mitchell Sanders folding his arms. He looked over at me for a second, not quite grinning, not saying a word, but I could read the amusement in his eyes. Rat saw it too. No lie, he uttered. Culottes. Look it up. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and go all the way down to the last page. Okay? According to Eddie Diamond, who heard it from one of the greenies, now greenies is a shortcut term for green beret, green beret, and those people, as you you'll read had a encampment close to this encampment. Very serious, strategical missions that they would go on. She took a greedy pleasure in night patrols. She was good at it. She had the moves, all camouflaged up, her face smooth and vacant. She seemed to flow like water through the dark, like oil without sound or center. She went barefooted. She stopped carrying a weapon. There were times, apparently, when she took crazy, death wish chances, things that even the greenies balked at. It was as if she was taunting some wild creature out in the bush or in her head, inviting it to show itself, a curious game of hide and go seek that was playing out in the dense terrain of a nightmare. She was lost inside herself. On occasion, when they were taken under fire, Marianne would stand quietly, that's the girl that originally came over in the culottes, should quietly and watch the tracer rounds snap by, a little smile on her lips, intent on her private transaction with the war. Other times she would simply vanish altogether for hours, for days. And then one morning, all alone, Marianne walked off into the mountains and did not come back. Nobody was ever found, no equipment, no clothing. For all he knew, Rat said, the girl was still alive. Maybe up in one of those high mountain villas, maybe with the Montagnard tribes, but that was guesswork. There was an inquiry, of course, and a week-long air search, and for a time the Trebong compound went crazy with MP and CID types. In the end, however, nothing came of it. It was a war, and the war went on. Mark Fossey was busted to private, first class, PFC, shipped back to a hospital in the States, and 2 months later received a medical discharge. Marianne Bell joined the missing. But the story did not end there. If you believe the greenies, Rat said, Marianne was still somewhere out there in the dark. Odd movements, odd shapes. Late at night when the greenies were out on ambush, the whole rainforest seemed to stare in at them, a watched feeling, and a couple of times they almost saw her sliding through the shadows. Not quite, but almost. She had crossed to the other side. She was part of the land. She was wearing her culottes, her pink sweater, and a necklace of human tongues. She was dangerous. She was ready for the kill. So you guys are going to have to read the whole thing to figure out what happens to her. Okay. I do have scheduled office hours for Wednesday from 1 to 2. So please join me if you have any questions or anything else. I will make one more short video where I go over the critical writing for the week. Okay, you guys, take care.